Hello. Welcome back to my channel. I am Monet and you're watching Life is Monet. It is Saturday at 4:21. My Alexa says it's 4:21 and I want to do a 24-hour reading vlog. I'm in the mood for it, but I don't know what I'm in the mood to read. I want something separate from my TBR. So I thought it would be fun to pull a prompt from my jar and just keep pulling prompts for every book that I read until my 24 hours are up. I'm just gonna stick my hand in here. I wanna like shake it up. There's so many papers. Jeez. This is awkward. It says, the newest release on your TBR. The newest release on my TBR. I have some packages at my door and I know that they have to be pre-orders. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go open my packages to pick the newest release on my TBR to go from there. So I'll be back. Okay, so like all of those packages were books, way more books than I purchased. And so I'm really excited because they were gifts. So the first package, I guess, is actually two from one of my subscribers, Autonomous Dusk. I have The Black Church. I'm actually getting ready to film a video to talk about why I wanted to read this book, like other books that I read that spurred me to want to read this one. And I just added this to my wish list. So thank you so much. So I'm doing like a private research or like analysis just for my own personal reasons because I'm weird like that. I'm such a scholar that like I even want to learn things outside of reasons for school, but we'll talk about that later. Thank you so much. They also got me Biased, which is a book I have been seeing everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, and me and Aaron even thought about putting it on our Not a Book Club TBR. It's about uncovering the hidden prejudice that shapes what we see, think, and do. I've heard really great reviews for this book, and actually a nonfiction that I read recently and really enjoyed actually cited this book and quoted it in that nonfiction, and I was just like, okay, this is a sign for me to read this book. They also got me Hunting Adeline book 1 and book 2. I'm very excited to read this. Like, I've been in my indie romance bag lately and I wanted to get into some Kindle Unlimited romance, and I think this is fantasy or like a dark romance. I'm pretty sure this is a fantasy romance and it just sounds so good. I had book 1 on my wish list, but the note says that they know that book 1 ends on a cliffhanger and they didn't want to leave me hanging, so they got book 1 and book 2. And thank you so much, because I did not even know that it ended on a cliffhanger, so I would have had to buy book 2 immediately, but very excited for this one. And then for me, for my pre-orders and new releases, I did have 2 packages for that. I pre-ordered Gallant by V.E. Schwab, so maybe we'll read this in this vlog. The second pre-order that has arrived is Booth. This is a historical fiction about John Wilkes Booth and his family. That is, if you're not sure, the guy who assassinated Abraham Lincoln, but it starts with his father, who was the original like Shakespearean actor. And one of my subscribers actually sent me this little fun fact that said that the person who assassinated Abraham Lincoln actually said famous words from like a Roman play. I'm not even sure. It was like a Shakespearean play. He said something. I think he muttered the same words that they said when they killed Julius Caesar. And his father was a Greek fanatic, and I think his name was Junius Booth. And this is the person who raised him, and the family was supposed to be a set of actors, and even his brother became a very famous stage act, and he was following in his brother's and his father's footsteps. But his father was very abusive outside of just being a stage actor, and that has shaped his life. And we know that he went on to assassinate Abraham Lincoln, and so this is a historical fiction about his family and his life, and it sounds so good. I do have one more package here that I'm pretty sure is books, so I'm gonna open that one too. I literally just talked about Melissa and how Melissa was the person who sent me that fun fact about the John after he assassinated Abraham. I'm gonna go back to see what they sent me, and I'm gonna talk about it in like later on in this vlog because I want to get it right. But literally just talking about Melissa, and she just sent me Once and Future Witches, which is a book that I am excited for. I want to do a vlog on my channel where I read witchy books, and this and a discovery of witches, and there's one more author that I'm interested in adding into that vlog. So thank you for this one. I read what was the book I read? A Spindle Splintered. I probably got the name wrong again for the 1,000th time, but it's a novella by Alex E. Harrow, and I've heard such amazing things about her writing between Once and Future Witches and the 10,000 Doors of January. And for some reason, even though those I feel like would be 5-star reads, I started with the novella, and I didn't enjoy it because the novella didn't have any of the aspects that I was told I would get in terms of her writing, and so I was very disappointed. But now I can actually read the books that people told me to read. I'm just a bad listener. So thank you for that one. I'm very excited. Okay, so I'm home and I was on Zoom with my friends, and they told me that they have never watched Malcolm and Marie. And so now I have forced everyone to join a Netflix party to watch Malcolm and Marie, so that we can all be traumatized together. You probably can hear them. They're on there complaining about how I'm a tyrant and a bully or whatever, but it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time. Do you guys want to tell my vlog how excited you are to watch Malcolm and Marie?
I love you all. Hello.
Have some fucking fun with this shit. Let's have fun with the art.
Malcolm, you're writing the Angela Davis bio.
I need live responses, guys.
Like, who gave him permission to write this? That was my story. He was like, well, you were too fucked up to notice, so
Yeah,
I saved you. I helped you out of this. This was the least you could do for me, was to give me your story.
Because I think that his whole purpose of being in relationships with these women is not to be in a relationship, it's to be a fixer.
Disclaimer, it is like midnight and I got no reading done today at all. I spent a significant amount of time watching this show on Netflix with my husband, and I think it's called like Love, Death, and Robots. I don't know. It's so weird. It's like sci-fi. Each episode is like 10 or 15 minutes long, and I can't even tell you what the show is about because every episode is different. But we are so interested that like we kept watching it over and over again. So my attempt at starting my 24-hour reading vlog today has failed. But it's okay because I can always start in the morning. I have a live show with Jess from Jess Owens and books like Whoa, and there's quite a few people that's going to join us. We're going to be talking about Cultish by Amanda Fontel, and that is in the morning. However, I did all my filming today, and I did some editing today. I did cleaning today. I worked out today, and I took a break from reading today. So tomorrow we are all about books, and we're actually going to start this vlog. Well, the reading portion of that. And since I am clearly distracted from reading, I have decided that I'm going to read Gallant because it's shorter and I know that I can finish that in the time frame that we have. So I am very excited about Booth. I'm going to read that on my own outside of this 24-hour limit, and maybe I'll do live sprints tomorrow if I can. But if I read tonight before I go to sleep, of course I will update you guys in the morning. But since it's midnight, we're officially starting on Sunday. So that Cultish live show lasted for 2 hours, and it is already 1:30 in the afternoon, and I still have not picked up a single book. So this vlog is really a failure. It's really a failure, and I don't know if I'm still going to post it. I don't know if I should just start my 24 hours another day or just make it a regular reading vlog. But if I make it a regular reading vlog, then you guys will know that I failed and I'm a failure. So like, morning. It is Monday morning. I am going to read today. I think I just ended up relaxing all weekend and I was focusing on filming and editing, and now I kind of want to film again, but I am going to read because I need to put reading in this vlog because it is a reading vlog. So I am awake. It's early in the morning and I have Gallant, and we're going to get started. I will check in with you guys. Hello, it is I, and it is now 5:30 in the afternoon. I did end up editing more videos and getting them uploaded to YouTube. I was listening to some news podcasts because right now I'm essentially on spring break. So I have a 2-week gap from school. However, I still need to keep up with everything that's going on in the news. And one thing that I found very interesting is that I think it was last year, Apple did this whole privacy update on their softwares. And for those of you who do own iPhones, you'll know what I'm talking about, where they started asking you if you wanted apps to track you and just giving users more authority and just having them be more aware of who's tracking their information. And that decision to me was just so interesting, and I was following it last year. I know that Facebook tried to launch lawsuits. I think they even did launch a lawsuit against Apple for giving their users the opportunity to deny tracking. As I'm listening to my podcast today, there was one by the Wall Street Journal where they said that Facebook just reported that they lost $10 billion in advertisement sales because they use tracking to determine advertisements that they push out to Facebook users on the app. And if they are not able to track you on the app, then they're not able to push effective advertising. And now business owners that used to pay to advertise their services on Facebook are leaving because it is no longer really effective. A lot of them are turning more towards Google because even though Google does track you, they use more of your searches and your inquiries to push advertisements to you. So they don't necessarily have to follow you across multiple platforms or across apps. And so this is not directly affecting them the way that it is Facebook. So I was very intrigued with that. I did do some reading. You'll be very proud to know I put a good chunk in this book. I think I'm close to being halfway. First of all, I did not expect it to be as haunting and gothic as it is. If I had known the level of goth that this book was going to be, I definitely would have waited until this fall to read it, because it is the perfect spooky Halloween read. So if you are thinking about reading it and you're not in a rush, I would recommend waiting. So far, we have this little girl named Olivia, and Olivia does not talk. Olivia has been in this group home for as long as she can remember. She's very mischievous and she does not really get along with anyone. She's the black sheep. She's the oddball, and no one has bothered to learn sign language, and so she just doesn't really care to communicate with them. However, there's this very sinister thing about her where she finds joy and amusement in the torturing and pain of other people. Now, these people are very crappy towards her as well. So when she does take her revenge, it's she revels in the pain of it, which I find very interesting. So one day this letter arrives to the group home and it's from her long lost uncle. And he's like, "We've been looking for you. We've been trying to find you. Please come to Gallant because you deserve to be with your family." And the only thing Olivia has of her family is this journal that her mother used to write in. And in this journal, she knows that her father died when she was right before she was born, actually. And her mother ran away from home, but then she kind of went mad. And so there's journal entries of her just talking very insanely, and you can't really figure out what it was her mother was trying to say. But the last thing she wrote in this journal was for Olivia to never go to Gallant. And then in the letter from the uncle, he's like, "Yeah, your mother kind of went mad there and you deserve to come home." And so the little girl is very confused and conflicted because she's like, I don't know if I should listen to the ramblings of my mother, or maybe this was one of her sane moments, or she was off her rockers and I do deserve a family and I'm not happy at this home. And so she really doesn't have a choice because the home sends her there anyway. But when she arrives to this haunting mansion, no one is receptive of her. No one was expecting her. And on top of that, the person that she thinks sent this letter could not have sent the letter. So there's so many questions that are left unanswered, and the fantasy aspect of this book is that she can see ghouls, and they're kind of like deformed ghosts, and she ignores them. Like, she can see them, but she doesn't really interact with them. They're just always there. But I don't think that anyone else can see them. Now, the language in here, I wish that I had got the audiobook, because it reminds me, like, the writing style reminds me of like Neil Gaiman. But of course, V.E. Schwab has put her own twist on it. And I just feel like this type of like haunting writing would be very good in audio form, because Neil Gaiman has some great audiobooks. I am going to cook dinner, I'm gonna clean, and then I will be back later to put more of a dent into this book. Good morning, guys. I am now towards the very end of this book. I put a really big chunk in it last night, and then I started reading again this morning. So now I have about 75 pages left, and it is 11 a.m. And if I count the time that I actually started reading, if I finish this book by 12:30 in an hour and a half, then I will have read it in 24 hours from the time that I started reading. But I feel like I can do it. Like, an hour and a half to read 75 pages. It's a very short and like quick book. So I'm feeling very confident that I'm actually going to somehow resurrect this failure of a vlog. Full disclosure, I am not like a gothic girl. I'm trying to get more into gothic books, but I don't have a high level of confidence that subgenre is for me, because I was very unimpressed with The Death of Jane Lawrence. Like, it was okay, and I read it during spooky season, and so I think that just the entire atmosphere and like my personal life helped the book along. But in hindsight, I just look back on that book, and the only good feelings I have about it is the time that I read it in. So I think that it was just more of just like a fall Halloweenish type book, instead of like the book itself being actually good. I took a chance on V.E. Schwab writing like a goth type story. Now, it's very different than I expected it to be, as I mentioned earlier, but like, I just started reading V.E. Schwab, and I have read so far Vicious, and I have read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Her level of like versatility, I think, is unmatched for authors that are putting out books today. And I say that because if you read a book by V.E. Schwab and her name is not actually on the front of the book, I don't know if you will be able to exactly pinpoint who the author is, because her writing style, although her prose is always very beautiful, I love the way she writes, but she can really switch hats. If I was to compare her to anyone else, I would say maybe Shauna Maguire. I feel like has a huge level of versatility, because if you've read Middle Game and then the Wayward Children series, and then Shauna Maguire also has like an urban fantasy, the writing in those books are very different. And I also know that they wrote Into the Drowning Deep, which I have not read, but the reviews of it sounds like it's a very different writing style than the 3 books that I have read by Shauna Maguire. And so Shauna Maguire and V.E. Schwab, to me, has this like exceptional level of versatility in writing their stories. And with that being said, I feel the same way about Gallant. The writing is so good. And again, I don't expect that I'm ever gonna really give a 5 stars to a goth type book, because it seems like something's usually missing, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. But if I was going to list a favorite gothic story, it would be this one. The character that you're following is so interesting, and like there is a heavy amount of imagery in the story, but it relies on colors and color schemes. And so when you first open the book, there's like this gray palette where everything is like charcoal and gray and cloudy and metal, and like you just get this visionary of like this colorless world. And then when our main character travels back to Gallant, you start to see pops of color, like it's vibrant and yellow and spring and red and green and just colorful, and like that is consistently pushed to the reader the whole time. And I think that it ends up making you more submersed into the story, because you're caught up in like these color schemes. But overall, like, This feels like a solid 4 stars if I don't end up giving it 5 stars based off the ending. But I am pleasantly surprised and in awe of the talent of V. Schwab. I feel like I need to read more books by her before I can label her as like a favorite author. I'm still exploring her writing, but she's showing and telling. She's proven. She's putting her best foot forward. We love it. I'm here to see it. I need to read A Darker Shade of Magic because I own that entire series and I need to read that. And I think that after this book, that is the one that I am most interested in. And then maybe her middle grade series, which I know is heavily dependent upon like this shadow aspect, but I don't think it's as goth as this. And I will be back before 12:30. I'll be back before 12:30 to tell you guys that I did finish this book in 24 hours. I am back. I have finished the book. First of all, I got more book mail from my subscriber. Thank you so much. It is centered around an isolated religious cult and it's in like this mountain aspect. So I'm hoping that it's very atmospheric. So thank you so much. Like the options that you guys are picking from my wish list is literally the best because I am so excited for them. In terms of my wrap up, because I'm literally on my way out the door, I'm actually going to work out at the gym earlier today. So I'm heading out, but yes, I ended up giving Gallant 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it all the way up until the ending. And yeah, I think that as I continue to explore my taste in gothic books, this will definitely be the one that I compare almost everything to. And I have more faith in V.E. Schwab because I am testing the subgenre of gothic fiction as well as her writing because I'm still getting to know her. And I had a pleasant experience reading the book. And I feel like it would have been 5 stars if I had read it during like a spooky season. It's definitely one I recommend for a seasonal read, but I read it in winter and still gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So still a solid book, loved it. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this failure of a vlog. I'm heading to the gym. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week and I will see you guys next time.